This video, we're going to talk about some tips for you to be on TV when you get on TV, some little tips that you can use, because I was on TV and I'm going to just brag about it.
How'd you do that?
I see that success is not something you pursue, it is something you are. All right, so in this video, I want to talk about some tips. So if you ever get on TV, whether you've been on, whether you're going to get on, here are just some quick tips for when you're on TV, okay? So first off, I mean, you obviously know that getting on TV is going to build your brand. So you know that. And the first thing you need to think about, the absolute first thing, is how do I get a recording of this, okay? So you should have multiple ways to record yourself, whether you're recording yourself literally at your home on the TiVo thing or whatever, you're recording yourself at home, then just ask the producer before you get there, say, hey, can I get a recording of this? Ask them, and ask them multiple times, because producers are busy, by the way, so they've got better things to do than to talk to you. So producers are busy, and so you want to ask them multiple times in terms of the recording. Usually they'll give you a recording. I've never not gotten a recording, but basically, first time I went on TV, they told me, I think they said you got 3 minutes, right? So they told me I'd have 3 minutes, and I'm thinking, all right, how do I stretch this out? So I don't know if I'll ever be on TV ever again. So how do I stretch this out? And I thought to myself, I can perform 3 things on TV, right? And then what I can do, like perform 1 per minute. I got 3 minutes. I can do 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, and I'm good to go. Now I can have 3 separate videos. It looks like I was on TV 3 separate times. And so I was thinking all this in my head, right? And so then when I went there, man, 3 minutes, it goes by quick. And what happened was I was kind of rushing through it, and I could feel myself rushing through it. Whereas what I should have done is I should have just said, okay, what's 1 thing, maybe 2 things, and I could, of course, have a 3rd thing in the back of my mind, but I'm only going to do 1 thing, talk about 1 thing, focus on 1 thing during this TV interview, because 3 minutes, man, it goes by quick. And so the first time I felt rushed. The second time I said, okay, don't rush it, Benji, but just have some extra stuff just in case. And so the second time, it was just 1 thing that I talked about on the second time. And then the third time, it was, once again, it was 1 thing. Well, the third time it was interesting because I was actually in San Diego, where they told me they told me they were going to do all sorts of stuff. They said, okay, we got 3 minutes. Then she said, all right, so first we're going to have you perform at the desk. Then we're going to have you walk over behind the scenes. We're going to have you do that. And then we're going to come back in the desk. And I'm thinking, because I know I've been on TV before, and I'm thinking there's no way that's going to happen. Like there's just not enough time to do that. That would take up way more than 3 minutes. And that's exactly what happened. In fact, maybe I'll show a recording of it where the guy, he went on, he was like, we're not going to go to the back or something.
I'm flipping out here. We're going to test you out, okay?
Okay.
What? Aw. What happened? We were going to go check with Brad, executive producer, and do another bit. You have who has their wallet easily accessible right now?
Because that was the plan, but because of time, it took so long for the first thing, we just didn't do it. And so what you need to do is you need to think about, what's the 1 thing that I want to talk about? Just one thing that I want to talk about. And speaking of talking, you also want to think along the lines of demonstrating. So when you're on TV, what producers absolutely love, is can you do some type of demonstration? Because they need to think in terms of, how do I sell this segment? How do I sell this in a way where people want to watch? And when people are sitting there just talking, that's just normal. But when you think, how can I sell this, right? And when you do a demonstration, people will watch it more often. They'll watch longer. So if you can think of some type of demonstration, if you got your book, if you can think of, I don't know, like let's say you're motivational speaker, or let's say you're a fitness person, and you're on TV, and you got to think, okay, how can I use my book as a demonstration? And you say, you know what, cutting calories is like, imagine this book, right? Imagine this whole book that I've got is your body. When you cut calories and you just rip the book in half, you're like, shh. When you cut calories, you're a lot slimmer. And so you just do a demonstration, something simple like that, right? And by doing that, you're selling the segment, and producers love that type of stuff. So think about demonstrations that you can do. You want to think about how can you be larger than life. When you're larger than life on TV, people watch. Whatever you do, do not be normal. Do not think normal, because whatever normal is, that's what gets people bored. And so you have to think, be larger than life. And by the way, when you're also on TV, don't think about the millions of viewers out there, wherever. Right now, I mean, I know there's like 1 billion people watching this. I'm not thinking about the 1 billion people watching this. I'm like, man, I don't need to think about the 1 billion people watching me right now. And so you think about the same thing on TV, where you just focus on the news anchors. I mean, you don't say, like, if you're talking with a news anchor, talk with the news anchor. Don't sit there and say, like, yeah, and so all of a sudden I went to the fitness industry and I decided to get really focused on my calories just because, and like, it would be weird. And so you just want to talk to them like you're really talking to them. And so that's how you want to think about just being on TV. But when it comes to TV, I mean, there are little things like, oh, don't wear stripes or whatever that stuff is and all that. There are little things like that, but really when it comes down to it, you just want to focus on one thing, and then if you can do some type of demonstration, they will freaking love you for it.